also be a way to just sometimes it could be a way to reason with somebody else. It can be for many reasons why we argue, but I've personally noticed that the main reason is that just two people have different ideologies, and this is definitely most common between human beings. We are not necessarily things like robots, or we're not all made or created in the same, yeah, I'll say this, in the same exact way. We've all been brought up, nurtured, and differently, and our mentality and how we think and what we think not might be, pretty much is different from how everybody else thinks. Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to yet another video from MattyDTube. And today what I'm going to be doing, if I say it's going to be kind of interesting, that's pretty much what I always say. But this will be a video about arguing. Now, it is, yet again, quite an interesting subject to me, so all these other videos that I've been doing. But I'm not going to level away them out or anything like that. But yeah, basically this video is going to be about why people are arguing, as you can already see by the title. And with that all out of the way, I guess let's get straight into this. So, arguing, what is it? Arguing is when two people with opposing ideologies have just talk out their own ideologies and pretty much disagreements. That's what arguing is, but why do we argue? Now, a main point of why we argue could be to get our point across. It could be to just tell people, oh, this is what I believe in, this is how I think. And it could also be a way to just, sometimes it could be a way to reason with somebody else. It can be for many reasons why we argue, but I've personally noticed that the main reason is that just two people have different ideologies, and this is definitely most common between human beings. We are not necessarily things like robots, or we're not all made or created in the same, yeah, I'll say this, in the same exact way. We've all been brought up, nurtured, and differently, and our mentality and how we think and what we think pretty much is different from how everybody else thinks. And when two people have different ideologies and they clash, don't know why I did that. That can literally be a hand sign for anything. I don't even know. So, and they clash their opposing ideologies, and so like that. And they clash their opposing ideologies. It can, how shall I put this? It can make for an interesting interaction. Now that's why we argue and the definition of arguing. But who do we argue with, and how do we get our viewpoints across other than just talking? So I'm going to start with who we argue with. It can literally be with it can literally be with anybody, like your parents, your family, your friends, a random stranger out in the streets for no apparent reason. It can literally be any of those. You can just have opposing ideas and I don't like the way you think. This is how I think. I'm right, you're wrong. And then the other person no, vice versa. No, vice versa. No, that's not right. I'm right, you're wrong. And it can go on and on and on. It can literally be about the stupidest things. Like, people can argue about as far as I'm concerned, this is actually what somebody did kind of argue about in a way. How to pronounce Megan? Is it Megan or Megan? And if I say I found myself doing this, and to be honest, I actually kind of have. We literally just argue about the most stupidest things, like stuff like that, and we can argue with anybody just to get our viewpoints across and make ourselves, well, not make ourselves, yeah, pretty much make ourselves unique. Not look unique, we are unique, so make ourselves just out there and unique. And I guess with that pretty much out of the way, and I've covered both of those things, and I've pretty much covered those things. Let's get to the third one. And the third point is argue results, the results of arguing, pretty much nothing, and how, and blinded by our own ideology and pretty much getting getting a point across by any means necessary. I was pretty much supposed to touch on this on the other point, but I think I'll be able to touch on it a little bit more here. Let me start off with argue results. Argue results can literally be anything. If the person is smart enough, they will be able to reason it out, still keep their own ideology, but just say, just in their brain, they're like, you know what, screw it. This is going to go on like back and forth. I might as well just say, you know what, you're right. And then that's the end. That's what people who are thinking while they argue, and they're not just arguing blindly, which literally actually just segues me to the second point of this third point. That doesn't make sense, but don't worry about it. It's like 50% out of the form, you know, just anyways. How we are blinded by our own ideology, and we're just arguing, just arguing and arguing with only just thinking, you know what, I'm right, with that mentality, and not being open to another ideology, or, you know, just say, okay, you know what, maybe this still sounds reasonable, but I stick with this, yeah, and that's it. It's pretty much the result of arguing could literally be rather reasoning out a breakup of friendships or something like that, depending on what you're actually arguing about. But what if it doesn't end up? What if it doesn't end up with you reasoning out? Well, I mean, yeah, it can end up in many different ways. It can end up in as I've already mentioned, a breakup in friendship. It can end up in a house on fire. No. Just before you say what are you talking about, a house on fire, how can an argument? People do stupid things when they're not thinking, when they don't have a sound mind, and like, this guy said this and he believes in this, I don't like him anymore, or something like that, and you just burn down the house, or rip up all his clothes and chuck them out the window. Poor guy, I kind of feel sorry for that person. If that person has ever been you, I genuinely feel sorry for you. But yeah, arguments can lead to anything. But I mean, I pretty much already talked on this, but I can talk a little bit more extensively on this. That, I guess, leads us to the fourth point, and this is about reasoning. What if we reason before the argument even starts? Like, you both have your opposing ideas, and while the person's saying, I'm right, you're thinking to yourself, crap, this is gonna end up in something, it's just horrific. Let me just say, you know what, I respect your ideas, and I understand your thoughts and all that stuff, but me personally, I feel like this and this and this. You might have your own viewpoints, but this is how I personally feel. We are both different people, and we can level this out like civilized human beings. I don't know why I did that like that, but with literally just those words, they don't have to be those specific words. You can literally, it's like stopping the next friendship war or something like that. It can stop many things, just reasoning out, just saying, you know what, let me be bigger personal, let me just not make this a stupid argument or something like that. It can, reasoning out could literally, it can save many things, many things. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's it for the fifth point. Does an argument always have to end in a division? Well, kinda. Yes and no. It's like it can, but it doesn't necessarily have to. It depends on your choice of words, how you just portray your message, really. And yeah, like however you choose to say your viewpoint, it can have an effect on the outcome and aftermath of that argument. And yeah, it doesn't have to end up in a division of relationship or a division of friendships, or even like a division of, you know, family. Yeah, but it doesn't always have to end up like that. It can end up with just reasoning out like, oh, I respect your viewpoint, and it's just pretty simple like that. Like, we even learned this in school, like in RE, whenever we're doing like a lesson in RE, we all have different ideologies and viewpoints. Before we have like a complete total utter class argument, and we're gonna start World War III within the classroom. So like the teacher just tells us to say, you know what, screw it, I respect your viewpoint and everything I literally just said earlier. So yeah, it can really save many things. But yeah, I guess that brings me all the way to the end of this video. What a shame. You thought, I'm joking, I always end this with a conclusion. You thought I was gonna end this, you are wrong. Anyways, so yeah, with all of those points out of the way, I guess I can conclude this video. It's really just a summary of, what did I just say? It's pretty much just a summary of all the points I've just made. And yeah, we argue to get our points across. And to do it, sometimes any means necessary. Most of some people think before or during the argument to reason things out. Finally, it doesn't necessarily have to end in division. If we respect each other's viewpoints. And that's pretty much just a summary of everything I've just said. Yeah. And yeah, with all of that out of the way, that is literally actually the end of the video. Now out of the way, and this being the end of the video, I hope to see you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for sticking around if you have. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video, which will be interesting, just as interesting as this one. See you then. It sounds like I'm going to do like a sing-along or something. See you then. Peace.
I'm a OG boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. OG boy.
Day we hustle, but the night we
OG boy. Know that they ride or die.